On everybody, what is going on? It is Friday, July 7th, 2023. It is the first Friday of the month, and it is a very important day. It is Micah Johnson Day. Like I said, it don't got to be on the calendar, but if it's somebody we want to celebrate, we're going to celebrate them regardless, whether it's on the calendar or not. We prefer that they don't put it on the calendar, but let's be real, they're not going to put this man on the calendar. And that's fine. He's on our calendar. Then that's all that matters. But shout out to everybody who was in here so far. It's a lot of people in here so far. It's a lot of people that's in here right now. It's almost 200, and we haven't even gotten started yet. I was just playing music to get, to lighten the mood like I usually do every single Friday here on the Taurean Rain Reloaded channel. Make sure if you haven't done so already to go ahead and like and share the stream out on your various social media platforms. I would greatly appreciate it. But before we actually go ahead and get into it, let me acknowledge as many people as I possibly can, because there's a lot of people in here. Red Harlow, Curly Girl, Winnie Wall, Val Williams, DSB, Angela Adams, Sybil, Jay Bird, Terrence Jackson, Carla Lockert, Mama Mysterious, Pearly Battle, 007 Spidey 2, Val Williams, Mohako, RY, Danielle Meyer, Chosen One Indeed, DJ Specs, David O, B First Is, let's see who else we got in here. Kenneth Higgins, Queen Jet Black, Emma Crawford, Cyberdine 100. Let's see, I'm trying not to repeat any names. Young 9, Stardust Spirit of the Most High, Chris G, FBA Rigger All Black, DSM Sinister, Joseph Washington, Reps, Jesse Paris, aka Shay. And shout out to Cyberdine for kicking off the super chats of the day. I definitely appreciate it. Jay Bird, daughter of the great I Am, so on and so forth. Like I said, it's an endless list. It's like y'all are just flooding in right now. Pinky JYB, Rashawn Graham. And speaking of Rashawn Graham, shout out to you for the $20 super chat. I greatly appreciate it as well. And B1, and shout out to everybody else who is in the chat right now. So, as many of y'all know who follow me and subscribe to my channel, I posted up something on the community tab yesterday saying that I will be doing this live stream today with a special guest. Now, at first, I was going to let it be a surprise. I wasn't going to tell anybody that they were going to come on today, but I said, let me go ahead and put it out there so people can get, excited for it, because the person who I have on today, and shout out to Janesta for the super chat. She says another great collab with Taurean Rain Reloaded and the beautiful Lisa Cabrera. We greatly appreciate it. The person that I have on with me today is someone who has been with me since the beginning. Back to my Taurean Rain channel, the original channel that I had on here before, where y'all know what happened. For those of y'all who's been around that long, know how that goes. Back to when I was getting, when I had the email set up to have stories sent to me to talk about on my channel. And as many of y'all know, Lisa was one of the ones who was sending me endless amounts of stories. Like, she sent me so many, and I will always shout her out, and people will always ask, who is Lisa Cabrera? Who is she? Who is she? And one day I emailed her when she sent me a story, and I told her, I said, Lisa, have you ever thought about doing your own content? Have you ever thought about doing your own videos? And she said, no. And I said, I think you should, because you send a lot of stories, and a lot of people are now getting to know who you are because of me shouting you out. And I said, I think you should start your own channel. And she did. And now this woman is currently sitting at like 140 plus thousand subscribers. That is amazing, considering the type of content that she puts out there, because it's not seen as popular. It's not seen as trendy. But I'm glad that she actually, took heed to what I said and put it out there, because now she has gained a massive following. People know who she is. And she's definitely a wonderful person, a very kind-hearted person, very dedicated to what she does and putting out the content that people definitely want to hear and want to know about. So, without further ado, first off, before I actually bring this person up, I feel like y'all need to put some roses in the chat, because give this woman her flowers. Put some rose emojis or some flower emojis in this chat before I bring this woman up here, because she needs to feel the energy. She needs to feel as much energy as I'm giving out right now, big upping her. She needs to feel that from the chat. So I want y'all to put some roses and some flower emojis in this chat, because this woman most definitely deserves it. That's what I'm liking. I'm seeing like a bouquet of roses just popping up right now in this chat for sure. That's how it's supposed to be. But with that being said, I'm about to bring up the wonderful, incomparable Miss Lisa Cabrera.
How you doing, Taurean?
I am doing well. How are you doing?
Okay. Look, I hope a lot of people come. I'm also streaming to your channel,
I
and
see.
you might see my people in there with the little copy sign above the YouTube logo.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, those are my people joining in.
I
So
see that. And
I'm
shout out
glad.
to your audience as well.
The more the merrier.
Most definitely. Because a lot of people that, we kind of some in some aspects we kind of share subscribers. So a
Yes.
lot of the people that watch me watch you and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
Most
Yeah,
definitely.
absolutely. And y'all have seen me over the years, and I'm glad to see all of you here. Yeah, my channel has grown a lot. I don't get
Mhm.
that many views though,
Yeah.
but yeah, I have to tell you why. Me and a group of people got litigation against YouTube, so it's kind of retaliation. I know
Yeah.
what's going on,
Hmm.
but I just keep right on pressing on. I don't let it bother me.
Exactly. That's all you can do. Like, listen, we we know we have a love-hate relationship with this platform, and that
Don't.
goes back a couple years. So we already know. We
Mm,
this is nothing new to us.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
I'm glad that you were able to come on because a lot of people don't know. I actually had reached out to Lisa to do a live stream collab a couple weeks ago, but something that happened, and I'm not gonna go into the detail of it, and she wasn't able to come on. And she said, just keep me in mind whenever you can do the next one. And I said, okay, this would be the perfect one because what we're gonna talk about today, because it's a plethora of topics, lines right up with what we talk about on our channels all the time. As a matter of fact, some of the stories that we're going to talk about today, many people already may know about. Some of them you don't know about. But what I find to be very interesting, though, is a lot of the stories that I'm talking about today all happened within the month of June, with it the exception of a couple. And I have a feeling a lot of the ones that happened in June, many people don't even know about. I'm talking about these were like stories that came out like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Shout out
Mhm.
to Joseph Washington for the super chat. He said $5 super chat. He says family reunion. Appreciate it. But yeah, I strategically titled this stream today examining the privileged class and the perverted class. And the irony of it all is that the demographics can fit into both of these classes that we're talking about today. It's kind of
Mhm.
crazy when you think about it because they can some of them can go almost hand in hand. Shout out to YGL TB1 for the 1999 super chat. He said the 2-for-1 broadcast special, well worth it. I'm glad that you are here. Shout out to everybody that's here right now. But without further ado, we are going to kick things off with the first story. Let me go ahead and share the screen. I have so many tabs open. I got to make sure I'm clicking the right one. So the first one we're going to talk about is this story that came out of Lubbock, Texas,
Mhm.
where you had 24 people who were arrested for a human trafficking sting in central Lubbock. Now, as you can see, the picture is like right here. I wish I could enlarge it. It's a mixture of array of people of different backgrounds. You got PC, you got black people, you got men and women all mixed up in this. So it's like a feast going of debauchery and degeneracy just flowing through this. Lisa, have you heard about this story?
No, I have not heard about that, but we've had human trafficking ring quite a few in my
Yes.
state.
Hmm.
So, you know what? These things are more common than uncommon.
Most definitely, for
Mhm.
sure. But yeah, this one says that the Lubbock Police Department announced on Wednesday that 24 people were arrested in a 2-day human trafficking operation in central Lubbock. The operation resulted in 13 felony arrests for solicitation, prostitution, 8 arrests for misdemeanor prostitution, and 2 for possession of marijuana. Police said a female was identified as a possible victim and publicly not named. And this is the Lubbock Police Department Special Operations Division, in conjunction with the Lubbock County Sheriff's Office and Lubbock Fire Rescue, conducted the operation on June 19th and 20th. The operation resulted in 13 felony arrests for solicitation of prostitution, 8 arrests for misdemeanor prostitution, and 2 for possession of marijuana. And then right here they have them all listed below based on the crime. One of them is a solicit. They have their names and the crime in which they've been charged with. So, and the thing is, along with them being a mixed crowd of genders wise and demographic wise, but it's the age brackets are very different too. So you got 52-year-olds, 26, 40, 29, 28, 38, 21. That looks like that could be the youngest one in it is 21. 26. So the age ranges are varied. I'm not going to read all the names, but it's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's 24. It's 24 names.
I wonder how long that's been going on before they got busted. Because usually these things will go on for quite some time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Go in there and get these folks. It looks like it was a lot of sex trafficking.
Yeah, like they said, it was like this. It was human trafficking. So they, like I said, they got them on prostitution, solicitation, possession of drugs. So it was a myriad of things that they got them on. And usually, when it comes to these type of cases, whenever they're doing an investigation, they can go on for months.
Yes,
because they have to build an investigation up, or so they can get the more that the investigation lasts, the more they can get them on. So the article doesn't state how long this investigation was going on, but I'm willing to bet it was going on longer than a month.
Yeah. Now I know there was one that happened in my state a few years ago, and they had trafficked like hundreds of people.
Yeah,
they were only able to recover like 2 people. That was it. The rest of them, I don't think they could. They didn't know where they were.
They probably tried to head for the border.
Yeah, usually especially children, they'll move them around a lot. That's why it's very hard for them to catch up to the victims or try to recover them.
Yeah. And you know what's so crazy is the last time I think I did a video talking about a big sting like this, or maybe it wasn't the last one, but it was a few ago. It was in Florida, and it was like one of those ones that involved Disney, like the Disney employees, where they were like trafficking kids and whatnot. I said that's crazy, and I said that's like slim, that's like right for the picking right there, because they're literally right there amongst a bunch of children. Like they probably had a field day with that.
Exactly. And can you imagine they're seeing kids on the regular?
Oh yeah, yes, definitely.
It's like there's no endless flow of children coming in that park.
Exactly. Thousands a day, and right now this is a huge vacation period. So the summertime was perfect for them to do what they did.
Yeah, we went in 2000. And I remember we went Christmas time. Now you would think a lot of people would be home celebrating that time. It was packed Christmas time.
I can believe it, because you got to think the weather is a little bit more tame at that time. Because I remember going to Florida ironically in 2000, but I didn't go to Disney World. I went to Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure, and it was in June. I'm gonna just put it like this: I will never go to Florida again in that month, because it is so hot down there. Like the humidity is unbearable. But yeah, I remember going down with my family for a week in June back in 2000, and that's where we went, and it was so unbelievably hot. But yeah, that's why a lot of people go at that particular time you go, because the weather is a little bit more better. It's nowhere near as hot. And anyone will probably tell you that if you plan on making a trip to like Disney World or Orlando, whatever the case may be, go like in the fall, winter months, because they're open all year. So definitely go during those times.
And you can go, because we went, and you can go from Disney. We went from Disney to SeaWorld.
Okay.
You can go, the shuttle will take you to different parks if you want to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And they'll bring you back to your hotel. That's why it was nice to have a shuttle. And
right. Because you're gonna do a lot of walking. Like you're gonna do a lot of walking when you go to those parks, because those parks are not small. So be prepared to like really put your leg muscles to work. But yeah.
Oh yeah, that is the truth. But when we went, it was in the 70s. It was December in the 70s. We were like, I think 1.5 miles from Disney.
Yeah.
And the shuttle would just come by the hotel, and we would just get on the shuttle and just go right in and just walk around all day and then get on the shuttle and come back.
Right.
So it did make it convenient, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Florida, it was nice and all that. And I got tons of relatives down there.
Mm-hmm.
But man, I could never live there.
I
I,
couldn't
that's,
either.
one, that's one state I could never live in.
I couldn't either.
Mm-mm.
Before we go on to the next story, let me give a shout out to TD Hip Hop Media and Jay the Informant for hitting the super chat. I definitely appreciate it. So our first story, as you can see, dealt with the perverted class. Now, this one actually is what I was saying, a combination of the both. And I'm sure you've heard about this. This is a story I think you talked about. I've talked about it over the years. Harvey definitely talked about it. He was actually the reason why I started talking about it. And that is none other than Allison Mack. Now, if
Oh,
y'all want to
yeah.
see, if you want to see you want to see privilege on steroids, look no further than Allison Mack. So, for those of you, well, I don't even have to ask if y'all are unaware. Many of y'all probably already know about this, but to make a long story short, Allison Mack used to be an actress on the show Smallville back in the day. And then you didn't really hear much from her again. And the reason why you didn't hear about her from her again is because she got caught up in this cult called NXIVM, along with this man by the name of Keith Raniere. Now, Keith Raniere he pretty much got life in prison. I think they gave him like 100 some odd years. So he's going to die in jail. But Allison only got 3 years. She got sentenced to 3 years, but it just came out that she's getting out early after only serving 2 years. And let me tell y'all, the details behind this story in this case is so disturbing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's hard to really stomach it. And the thing is, I remember hearing how this woman would brand the women with her initials with a branding iron. I think he had one too. And I
Mm-hmm.
saw some of the pictures. I don't know if you ever saw the images of when they branded those women like they were cattle.
Yeah. Yeah. I had heard about that because, yeah, they were recruiting these women.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And yeah, I heard about this. And I'm surprised she got something as low. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Oh, let me take that back. I'm not surprised she only
Right.
got that amount of time.
Yeah. Yeah, like I forgot what someone had told me because I had posted it up on Twitter, and someone told me what how this actually happened. I think they said it was something called the First Step Act, but I'm gonna just read. It's a very short article. It just says Allison Mack, the former Smallville actor, convicted and sentenced in 2021 to 3 years in federal prison for her participation in the notorious NXIVM cult, was released Monday. So she was just released a few days ago. She's a free woman. Is that she's been handed a 36-month sentence by a federal judge on racketeering conspiracy charges related to her role in the cult, which prosecutors had described as recruiting and grooming women to be used as sexual partners by NXIVM leader Keith Raniere. The former Smallville actor pleaded guilty in 2019 to the racketeering and conspiracy charges, receiving a relatively short prison sentence for assisting prosecutors in the case against Raniere, who in 2020 was sentenced to 120 years in prison on charges related to sex trafficking.
Right.
And that's the whole article right there. This article is about as short as her prison stint.
Mm-hmm. That's something.
It's funny also too, you didn't really hear anybody from Me Too talk about this. I mean, nothing related to it at all, whether it be her, Keith Raniere, or the cult as a whole.
Right. But Me Too only turn up on black men. That is
Of course.
true. They only turn up on black men. If it's anyone else, you don't hear a peep out of them.
Exactly. But yeah, that's that privilege and perverted society working in tandem with each other when it comes to Allison Mack. And a lot of people didn't even know who Allison Mack was unless they watched the show Smallville. And then again, this is one of those stories that was swept under the rug. Like you very rarely heard about it. Like I said, Harvey was the first person that I heard talk about this, and it made me look into it, which got me invested into talking about it and following it. But yeah, it was a very sick, very sick story. Like if they ever did a movie about this, I wonder how much detail will they go into this that we don't know about, because I think we only know really surface level things. We don't know too much, but how deep will they actually go into this?
Well, hopefully, maybe it'll crop up on Netflix. You know how
Right.
Netflix is always doing those documentaries?
Oh, that would be a good one, much like they did with the Dahmer one, like make it a mini series, like a 10-part thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that
So
was good. Now, I mean, Dahmer was gross, but I have to tell you, I enjoyed that. The documentary, the movie they did on
yeah,
him.
yeah, I
Oh,
did. I watched it too, and I
good.
had did a live stream, like going over the different episodes. It was a hard watch. Like
It sure was.
that was very hard to watch. But episode 10 was the payoff.
Mhm.
Episode 10 was the payoff.
Man, that part that the woman that lived next door and she kept calling the cops and they just
Yeah.
wouldn't do nothing.
Mhm.
I don't know how she hung in there. I don't think I could have.
Right.
I don't
But
think
yeah.
I could have hung in there like that.
Hmm. Let's see. Before we go to the next story, I think we got another super chat. Shout out again to Jay the Informant for the $2 super chat. He's a Taurean, and Lisa, was she working for Andrew Tate? I don't think she was working with Andrew Tate. Yeah, this this is pre Andrew Tate. Okay, the Nexium cult was around years before we knew who Andrew Tate was. So yeah, I doubt that she was working with Andrew Tate. She probably even know who that is. But
Mm,
yeah. Allison Mack, Operation Protect the White Woman in full massive effect.
mhm,
But let's go on to the next story. Now, this next person, this wasn't originally a story that I had lined up, but someone had posted it up on my timeline as I was getting all the tabs together to talk about these stories. But this is someone who I dedicated a whole playlist to because I wanted to stay on top of their story as much as I possibly could. Now I'm glad this is happening because now we can share it with the audience in real time, and that's none other than Brett Favre, aka the Welfare King.
all right.
So, as everybody knows, I've been following the Brett Favre situation for like the last maybe year and a half, almost 2 years now. Even back when it wasn't publicized, like I had told people when the stuff started to come out about him and people really knew about it, I wasn't so shocked about it or jumping out about it because I said, this sounds so familiar because was I the only one that heard that he was doing something funny with this money down in Mississippi or not? And apparently I felt like I was, but then it got public and all this stuff started to come out. But this is a recent update with Brett Favre. It was actually posted today, so it's fresh, hot off the press, where it says Brett Favre claims he won't invoke the Fifth Amendment in the civil case regarding the Mississippi welfare funds. Now, just based off of that and what you knowing so far, Lisa, what do you think about that?
First of all, he's been spending the greater year, I would say, trying to get himself out of the whole thing. Like he shouldn't be part of this case. He wants to be off it. I was like, how do you get out of it when you directly took the money?
Mm-hmm.
If anything, I still say there should be charges on him. You mean
Yeah.
the privilege is working?
Yes.
It's just working
Oh yeah.
splendidly for him because they're not even putting any charge. They're putting the charges on anybody but him.
Yeah, on everybody around him. It kind of reminds me of Dan Snyder up there in Michigan with the water
Yes.
situation where they put the charges on everybody around him but him, even though he's like the central figure for while
Mhm,
all of that was happening. Like
mhm.
they're doing the same thing here with Brett Favre. They're putting everything on around people around him except him. And it's just amazing how he keeps trying to get out of it. I think the last time I talked about Brett Favre was when he was saying like his team was trying to go to the judge to get some, I don't know, not an appeal, but to get removed from the case. But the
Yes.
judge was like, nah, like we have enough on you to keep you here. But for some odd reason, they just will not charge this
They-
dude with
and
anything.
it
And,
makes him
and what they're trying to do is they're trying to get out of it before that actually happens. That's what they're trying to do. Because once
mhm.
some charges come, then you stuck. You pretty much locked in at that point. Now you got to really go forward with it. But they're trying to get him removed from it before that happens. But let's read. I'm gonna read what they're saying. It says Hall of Fame quarterback Brett Favre continues to. I hate that they name him that. Like, give him his proper title. That's an old title. If that
Yeah.
was a black man doing that, they wouldn't have said Hall of Fame quarterback. They would have
No.
said thief, all kinds of names that would relate to the situation that they're in. But they
Right.
said,
And you would think those text messages would have been incriminating enough
oh yeah,
for them to
definitely.
put charges on them too.
Exactly. Because we saw the text messages. They're very public knowledge. You can just go on Google and type in Brett Favre text messages, and you'll see right there that he's saying, hope, we won't get caught for doing this, right? Like trying to assure that that the media is not going to find out about it. Like
Mhm.
those messages came from him, and then some more stuff came out too. It says Hall of Fame quarterback Brett Favre continues to face a civil lawsuit arising from a Mississippi welfare scandal. He has not been accused of a criminal misconduct. He apparently is very confident he won't be. Via AJ Perez of FrontOfficeSports.com, Favre's lawyers have indicated he will not invoke his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination when testifying in the civil lawsuit. The comment was made in connection with an effort to Favre's lawyers to oppose an effort by 3 other defendants to stay the civil case pending the resolution of their criminal cases. Favre would be severely prejudiced by a stay, his lawyer wrote. A stay under these circumstances would unduly delay Favre's opportunity to have his day in court and clear his name. The problem for Favre is that anything he says to clear his name in a civil case could be used against him in a potential criminal case, or it could spark an investigation for the possibility that Favre failed to tell the truth while under oath in the civil case. That said, if Favre were to invoke the Fifth Amendment in the civil case, he almost certainly would lose because he would not be rebutting the evidence introduced against him. Favre has at all times insisted that he has done nothing wrong in connection with alleged misappropriation of federal welfare funds, and he continues to just nest in that.
Well, I
Like
don't see how he can even deny it with the whole arena sitting there.
exactly, you stole them funds to build a whole facility for your daughter to play volleyball.
Mhm.
Right,
Yeah,
and also remember the money that he got for some speeches he was supposed to make that he never made.
that he never made. Yep, I sure do.
And on top of that, it was a bunch of interest that he never paid back. Now, what got me was that when he was paying this money back, he paid on the high end of what was owed. But when it came to the interest, which was on the very low end, I think it was like a little over 200, like
Yeah.
$1,000 or something like that. He's
Mhm.
holding on to that. I'm like, why are you holding on to pennies? Just pay
Yeah.
the interest. You already paid the bulk of it back.
And the thing is, I read in his career he made over $100 million.
Oh yeah, Brett Favre has a lot of money in the bank.
And I'm like, okay, so you had to steal welfare money?
Exactly, and that's the crazy part because, like I said, I looked up his net worth because I'm sitting here saying to myself, you stole this money, this welfare money that was needed for people in Mississippi, but which, by the way, Mississippi is one of the poorest states
It sure
in
is.
America. And he took that money from them people to pay for a volleyball facility for his daughter. He took money for so-called speeches that he was supposed to give that he never gave. He didn't pay back the interest. And I looked up his net worth, which is like over $150 million. You mean to tell me you couldn't take $5 million? Because I think that's how much the facility costs. You couldn't take $5 million of that money that you would not miss and pay for your daughter's facility? It's not like you wasn't going to recoup that money back anyway.
All he had to do was make a donation, and he could have even had the stadium named after his daughter. I'm sure they
Exactly.
would not have cared, but I don't know. It just seems so shady. And the fact that they got all these text messages and all kinds of, and I believe there's emails and
Yeah,
all
it's a lot. It's a
kinds of,
lot.
and he is still sitting there with no charges.
Yeah, and he still believes that he's going to walk scot-free. The crazy part about it is, with all the privilege that he has, I wouldn't be surprised if he did walk.
Yeah, me
But
too.
my thing is this: you have a lot of people that love to claim that Black people, whether they are in or outside of entertainment or in a certain tax bracket, that we abuse the welfare system. Yet here you have this guy who has played in the NFL for years, gotten amounts of wealth, endorsements, and what have you, who literally stole money from welfare recipients. That's is probably as low as you can get. And I always tell people, when you look up who commits the most welfare fraud, it's people who look like Brett Favre.
Absolutely.
And I know you live up in that. You in Jersey. I
Mhm.
can't tell you how many stories I've come across just in that state alone of the welfare fraud that happens up there.
And you know who it's mostly here? The small hat people.
Yep, and they are the ones that be committing it.
They are the biggest ones committing welfare fraud in New Jersey.
Exactly.
Mhm. That is
All
the
right.
truth.
So now we dealt with Brett Favre. Let's move on to this new story right here, and it is a fairly new story. I don't know if you've heard about it or not, but it is new, considering that it just happened yesterday. But this time we're talking about another star with a B in their name, and that star is Britney Spears.
Got slapped. I heard about
Oh,
that.
okay. So you did. So you did. Okay. So you did hear. Okay. So you did hear about it. Okay. Yeah, man. Listen, this story right here is wild. I actually was able to see the video, like the
Mhm.
actual raw video on Twitter today. And when I looked at it, I'm like, they overblew this. They blew this completely out of proportion, but I know why they did it. But we'll get into that. So
Mhm.
this is from page 6. It says Britney Spears slapped in the face by NBA star Victor Wembanyama's security files. Police reports. Now, when I first saw this, I knew where the spin was going to happen. They were going to try to say, "Oh, he did it and whatnot." I said, I know the spin is coming. Now, in case Lisa, you never seen this guy before, he's tall. Like
Mhm.
this guy, he's 19, by the way. He is very, very tall. It's no, I have no doubt that his position is center, because that's
Mhm.
usually like whoever plays center is usually the tallest person on the team. This guy literally is like he is like a walking skyscraper. He is very tall. And Britney Spears is like maybe 5'4". She's short. And they
Mhm.
were saying she was trying to tap him on the shoulder. I'm like, how are you going to try to tap this man on the shoulder? Like, if you jumped up, you would probably only tap him up like slightly above the waist. Like,
Mhm.
what are you talking? If that, and that's if you had the jump. Now, mind you, Britney Spears was there with her, I'm guessing her husband or some kind of companion, and she ran over to this dude. So, in my opinion, security did what security was supposed to do. But when
Mhm.
I looked at the video, it painted a different story for me. But I'm gonna read the article. It says Britney Spears was reportedly smacked in the face by a member of the San Antonio Spurs players' security team Wednesday night. Victor Wembanyama's security guard alleged assaulted the pop star, age 41, at celebrity hotspot catch inside the Aria Resort and Casino in Las Vegas around 8:30 p.m. local time. An insider told the outlet that Spears was a quote-unquote fan of the pro baller, and so she went up to ask him for a photo together. Now, when you look at it, it's like, why would you do that? And first off, you're Britney Spears, so people would know who you are. You don't have to run up to someone like you're a crazed fan. Like, you could have had some decorum and just walked up there, and I'm sure they would have, like, like let it happen. But when you look at how she did it, she ran up there like she was a groupie.
Yeah, that's what I said. She ran up on him like a groupie, and she should know better than that, being a celebrity herself.
Exactly, especially considering all the stuff she's been through for the last few years with that conservatorship with her dad. Like, that
Mhm.
was a whole fiasco right there. But I guess this is her way of saying, I'm finally back outside. Let me go and frolic and be free. But I'm like, at the end of the day, you're still very much, albeit not relevant anymore, but you're still very much a public figure. And my thing is
Mhm.
this guy's 19 years old. When Britney Spears was in her prime, this dude was not born yet, or just about to be born. He wouldn't
Right.
know who he was from a can of paint.
Mhm.
They said Wembanyama, a 19-year-old from France, was just signed to the Spurs during the 2023 NBA draft on June 22nd. So, okay, at least if you haven't seen a picture of him, that's him right
Yeah,
here.
I actually did. Mhm.
Okay, that's him. He was photographed signing autographs for other fans the same night as the incident. Now, my thing is this: if he was there signing autographs for other fans and there was no other incident, and you did what you did and what happened with you, what does that say about you and how you conducted yourself?
Right.
Now, these are fans who are not famous. They're just coming to see this guy play. You actually have a name to yourself. You are practically a brand, and you're acting like a groupie.
Mhm.
It says
Yeah.
it says Spears tapped him on his back right shoulder. I don't know how that happened unless he was bent over, according to the report. And the security guard then allegedly, quote unquote, backhanded her. And like I said, I saw the video. Let me paint the picture of the video I saw. So she comes up from behind to try to tap him on, like they say, on the shoulder. But when I saw he was walking, so I don't know where they're getting the shoulder thing from. And she reaches out to like tap him, but the security catches her hand and swings it back, and she causes herself to slap herself with her own hand. That's the video I saw. Anybody who's on Twitter, because I think TMZ had posted the raw video, and that's what happened. The security caught her hand right in time and pushed her hand back and caused her to smack herself in the face.
Just like
security did not smack her, because if security had smacked her with as big as a hand that security has, she would have been on the floor. So she's lucky security made her slap herself.
She went upside her own hand, just like a dumb blonde.
Right. She got backhanded by her own backhand. That's what it is. And then it says she reportedly nearly fell to the floor and her glasses were knocked off. It says the toxic singer returned to her table where she composed herself, and the security later apologized. And this says, you understand how it is when you're being swarmed by fans, he allegedly told the music superstar, which she reportedly accepted. She appeared to be accompanied by her husband, Sam Asghari, and her manager, Kate Hudson. At the time, reps for Spears and Wembenyama did not immediately return Page Six's request for comment. The media spokesperson for Catch declined to comment. The Grammy winner filed a police report for battery, Page Six can confirm. The Las Vegas Metro Police Department tells us they responded to an incident on Las Vegas Boulevard Wednesday night at 11 p.m. Pacific time regarding a battery investigation. The public information officer also notes no arrests or citations have been issued. Law enforcement sources told TMZ Thursday the incident is being handled as a criminal investigation and the case can be referred to the district attorney's office. However, it has not been confirmed whether criminal charges will be filed against the security guard, whom they identified as Spurs team security director Damian Smith.
Well, I don't think he should be arrested. They need to arrest Britney. She slapped herself. So she should be arrested.
Right. But yeah, that was the article. But there's also a video where they interviewed Victor. And I'm gonna play it. I'm enlarge it right quick so we can get the words from him and what he had to say.
What happened last night is I saw the news obviously this morning. I woke up to a couple of phone calls, and so yeah, there was something did happen a little bit when I was walking with some security of the team to some restaurant. We were in a hall. There was a lot of people, so people calling me obviously, and there was one person who was calling me, but we talked before with the security, don't stop because it's gonna make a crowd. So I couldn't stop. So that person was calling me, sir, and that person grabbed me from behind. So I didn't see what happened because I was walking straight and we told don't stop. But that person grabbed me from behind, not on my shoulder. She grabbed me from behind, and so I just know that the security pushed her away. I don't know with how much force though, but security pushed her away, and I didn't stop to look, so I kept walking and enjoyed a nice dinner. That was a fun night with the guys. What happened?
Okay, so that's the whole statement from him when they was asking him about it. And yes, Spidey, he is from France.
Yeah, you can hear his French accent.
He's from France. That's where he's from. But what I thought was interesting, though, and I'm looking at this tweet coming from this person named Skinsurrection, and I'm looking at these rather interesting emojis he has in his in his name. They're already trying to demonize this guy just based off of how he conducted himself with talking about it. So this guy, Harvey at Skinsurrection, said, under no circumstances should this man be laughing at what his security officer did to Britney Spears. First off, that's not his security. That's the team security. If it wasn't him, it would have been another player. He didn't hire them. The San Antonio Spurs hired them. So let's get that straight. He said he needs PR training and to understand the gender dynamics and racial dynamics involved.
No, he don't training.
Oh,
he didn't do anything. He didn't do anything.
Exactly. But see, like I said, that's why I said I knew a spin was coming. When I first saw the article that I just read yesterday, I said the spin is coming. They're going to try to put it onto him. And then
Mm-hmm.
now they're going to try. Now they're going to try to laser in on him. Mind you, he just got here.
Mm-hmm.
He's 19. He just got here. I think he's a rookie. He just got here. And already before he plays one NBA game, they're trying to paint a narrative on him. And that's why I keep telling people, to those in the diaspora who are non-FBA, like this guy right here, because he's from France, Dub S doesn't matter where you're located on the planet or where you came from. If they want to go after you, they're going to go after you.
Yeah, he ain't
He
never
got to
lied.
wake up. He's getting a wake up call very early for something that was out of his control.
Mm-hmm.
And he ends it off with saying, good luck with those future endorsements you just effed up. So automatically he's assuming that this guy's not going to get no endorsement deals because of what happened. Probably a Britney Spears fan, most likely.
That's
Definitely. That's what it is. It's a Britney Spears fan. In their eyes, she couldn't do no wrong. And they said, oh, she was under this conservatorship for so long. She was basically on the lockdown from her dad, this, that, and the third. You know, she's under a bunch of stress and this, that, whatever. They'll make a bunch of excuses.
Always got an excuse. But to me, as a celebrity, she should know how dangerous it is to approach a person like that. You know, even if you wanted to meet him, that was not the way to do it.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. Like I said, he was already talking to other fans and nothing was popping off with them. But here she come running down like a mad woman. I would have stopped her too. Like, you don't know what people's intentions are.
Right.
And she was running up on this dude. She didn't just walk. She was running. Like she had to catch the bus.
There you
go. Yeah. But I think they dropped the charges though, because like they didn't have nothing there. Like, what was you going to do? There was nothing to charge him with. He was doing his job.
Mm-hmm. Nah.
All right, let's move on to the next story. Now this one, go ahead.
I said I would love to see him play. I'm gonna have to watch one of the basketball games.
Yeah, he's gonna be playing for the Spurs.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. But let's go on to the next story. Now, this one doesn't involve a celebrity. This is no one famous, but the story nonetheless definitely deserves to be talked about. And this woman by the name of Chantel Shirk. I believe that's her name. Now, just read the headline. And this is from June. This is from almost a month ago. Woman stole car, burned down historic barn, stole another car, then tried to kidnap her own son from her ex-husband.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot going on just in the title.
Ooh, that's a lot for Karen.
Exactly. And look at her. No mark on her face. Clean.
Mm-hmm.
Clean face. And you have not one scratch on her. So let's see what the details about this is. A woman was sentenced to prison for a wild crime spree in which she stole a friend's car, destroyed a century-old barn, stole another vehicle, and tried to kidnap her own son. Chantel Melissa Shirk, age 41, must spend 6 to 12 years behind bars. I'm surprised they actually gave her years and not months.
Yeah, right.
The chaotic events of November 21st, 2021, a judge ruled Monday. Prosecutors in Cumberland County, Pennsylvania said it all started when she was riding in a friend's vehicle as a passenger in the township of Carlisle. Shirk suddenly yelled for Caitlin to get out of the car and began to act irrational. Caitlin was physically forced out of the car by Shirk, and Shirk drove off with the vehicle. That sounds like something straight out of Grand Theft Auto. The video game Grand Theft Auto. Is that she drove that same car into a barn in Penn Township. Shirk set fire to that structure. The flames swallowed the historic barn, which had been built in the early 1900s. The fire also claimed many bales of hay and the stolen car. Shirk then fled on foot and entered an attached garage without permission, stealing a Jeep Compass from the resident family who was home at the time. The vehicle also contained a victim's wallet, which had the person's identification and credit cards.
Well, Karen sure know how to jack some cars, don't she?
Right, exactly. Hey, listen. This is going to be another notch on that FBI crime stats under theft in Grand Theft Auto.
Uh-huh.
That's so the number about to go up. Then the defendant drove to her ex-husband's home in Silver Spring Township. There, she tried to kidnap her biological son from his father and stepmother. Shirk smashed a glass door with a baseball bat and partially entered the home. Shirk was yelling that she was there for the child. On her way to that house, she had called a family member and told them she planned to kidnap the child. The family member called police in an effort to prevent harm to the child. Shirk fled when police arrived, nearly running over a police officer who attempted to stop her on foot. Now, what they like to talk about is when it comes to resisting.
They claim that the reason why we keep getting killed and beaten and all that is because we don't comply. You know, they love saying that to us. We don't comply.
Exactly. Again, like I'm telling y'all, this story came out in June of last month, on June 14th. And for many people, this is their first time hearing about it. They did not know the story even existed. But I bet you if Chantel was Chantel, then you probably would have definitely heard about it.
It would have been a headliner.
Exactly. She kept fleeing and tried to evade capture by using dangerous driving maneuvers, but law enforcement ultimately caught her when state cops managed to stop the vehicle. While in custody, she said that she needed medical treatment, a lie meant to serve as yet another escape attempt. I like how they wrote that. A lie meant to serve as yet another escape attempt. An attempted transport ended in chaos. During the car ride, she attempted to escape the police by jumping through the partition, grabbing the steering wheel, and grabbing a firearm of an officer. She hit the guard, sprayed mace, and caused bodily injury to the guards. Shirk later admitted to the PA State Police that she had lied about needing medical attention in an attempt to escape during the transport. Now look at all that stuff she did just in the car ride.
Damn.
And she still came out looking like that.
He was definitely doing the most.
Right. It says Shirk ultimately pleaded guilty to burglary, robbery of a motor vehicle, theft by unlawful taking, fleeing or attempting to elude a police officer, criminal mischief, criminal attempt to kidnapping, criminal trespass, and aggravated assault of protected party.
Now, arson? She didn't get no arson for burning down that.
Right. Good point. Right. She didn't get the arson for burning down the barn. Yeah. Because that arson would have added more years for sure. Prosecutor said she will serve her term in state prison, concurrent to a Dauphin County sentence. Records show she was sentenced to 2 to 4 years for a count of theft by unlawful taking in regard to an incident that happened November 18, 2021. She also pleaded guilty in this matter. So wait a minute. So she committed a crime just a few days before she committed all of this other stuff that she just did. She committed a whole crime 3 days before she did all the stuff that I just read.
Wow.
Now, this is a menace to society right here.
Yes, she is.
And she kind of, and I'm looking at her picture, she kind of looks like Kathy Bates in Misery.
Yeah, she kind of do. Just a younger version.
Like a younger version of her. Like, yeah, she kind of do. But yeah, this is another, again, Operation Protect the White Woman in full effect. Because again, we could not do an ounce of what she did.
She going around just thugging.
Exactly. I'm still stuck on the part where she was acting crazy in the police ride to the station.
Man,
like that part, that's the part that got me out of everything that I was hearing here.
Yeah. I mean, she was thugging it. I'm like, damn, she jacked a couple of cars. I said, she sure know how to steal a car.
Right. Exactly. And she did it with the quickness. She was wasting no time. She knew how to hotwire that car. And then try to kidnap her son. She did all of this in a day.
Yeah.
That's the crazy part. She did this all in a day.
Yeah, I guess we see why she lost her son.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
definitely.
too tight.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, let's move on to the next story right here. And this is involving two people and is in Kansas. Right here, posted June 19th. This is 2 arrested for smuggling meth into the Kansas jail.
I saw that one. I said, when I looked at that picture, I said, they look like a couple of inbreds.
Hey, they might be. You never know. You never know. They might
Still have eyes, right?
right. They may come from the same gene pool. You never know. And their names are Matthew Cooley and Craig Gowdy. It says authorities in central Kansas have arrested 2 people accused of trafficking methamphetamine into a county jail. The Barton County Sheriff's Office said 36-year-old Matthew Cooley and 47-year-old Craig Gowdy were each booked on 1 count of possession of meth with intent to distribute and trafficking contraband into a correctional facility. Sheriff Brian Bellender said his office and jail staff became aware of the plan to smuggle the drug last week. Detectives had identified an individual who was serving weekends to fulfill his sentence, who had been recruited to smuggle contraband into the jail. He was to pass the drugs to other inmates. On Friday, detectives and staff found meth sewn into Gowdy's undergarments when he reported to the jail. Cooley was already jailed for 2 probation violations. The sheriff's office believes there were additional co-conspirators in this case and will be seeking arrest warrants in the very near future.
Wow.
And this was posted June 19th, 2023.
Mm-hmm. You know, I saw one this morning where some inmate used his bed sheet and he escaped, and they were still. Yeah,
that's the oldest trick in the book. You know, tie the bed sheets together and lower it and then climb out.
Well, he was able to do it. And the last article I looked, he was still on the run, and I saw it around the time when I saw this article as well.
Mm-hmm. I'm still stuck on the part where they said that they found the meth sewn into the underwear.
Yeah,
like what in the world? So that's what you was doing inside the prison. That's your little extracurricular activity was sewing, so you could learn how to do that.
Yeah.
Before we go any further, shout out to Ren 11B Airborne for the $49.99 super chat. He said we appreciate our new black media, and then he gave a shout out to Afro Lee. He says, Afro, I'll drop some support for you today as well. We appreciate it. But anyway, let's move on to the next story. That was a very short story right here. Now, this one right here is more of an update on a little menace whose name is not Dennis, but it should have been. And that is Ethan Crumbley. You remember Ethan Crumbley?
Oh, man. Yes, I do. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Those are his parents.
Those are his parents. Now, I will give them this. I am glad that they have decided to go and get his parents and jail them as well, because in my opinion, they played just as big a part in this as their demonic son.
Yes.
So I'm glad that they went after them too. But this article that got posted June 23rd said Michigan high school shooter showing sporadic disturbing behavior in county jail. Well, my thing is this: he was already showing that sporadic disturbing behavior before he did what he did, and while he was doing it. So you, in my opinion, are preaching to the choir. But let's see what. Go ahead.
Did it come out that his parents pretty much neglected him?
I think so.
And he was going over to a neighbor's house, and the neighbor was kind of, help feed him and, and kind of looked after him, because they said his parents really didn't pay much attention to him.
Yeah, and I think something else came out too involving the dad. I hope this is the same one, but I think they said the dad also had a child with another woman who lives in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it was a lot going on with that story. It was a lot going on.
And I think it came out that the mother was having an affair. Do you remember that?
I don't remember that.
Yeah, the mother was also cheating on, his father.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she had some man on the side. I think it was from her job. She was fooling around, and that came out.
Yeah, some people in the chat said it was confirming it. They said, yeah, that she did have an affair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do remember. But I do remember them saying that he had a child with another woman who lives in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
I do remember hearing that.
Yeah,
but it says Michigan school shooter Ethan Crumbley has recently exhibited sporadic disturbing behavior in jail. Prosecutors have said in a court filing Thursday, Oakland County prosecutors disclosed incidents of the recent behavior. Recently, the defendant has started exhibiting sporadic disturbing behavior. This behavior has been documented via report and body-worn cameras from jail personnel responding to various incidents. It is not readily apparent what the impetus for or cause of this behavior, the filing says. The filing states that the court is required to consider the behavior and Crumbley's ability to participate in future hearings, saying these incidents relate to the defendant's competence. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, I wonder, I was saying to myself, I wonder where this is leading to. And they just said it right there. They're trying to do the insanity thing.
Yeah, that's their go-to thing.
Right. They said the prosecutor called the behavior concerning Friday morning at a routine hearing evaluating Crumbley's detention in an adult detention facility as a minor. Well, you want to go out there and do grown-up things, even though most grown-ups wouldn't do what you did. But hey, you wasn't acting as a teenager either, so you get what you get.
Mm-hmm.
Still, the prosecutor and Crumbley's defense team told the judge they believe the teen is competent to participate in his upcoming Miller hearing and sentencing. The attorneys at the hearing said that they are fully prepared to hold Miller's hearing scheduled for July 27th, during which prosecutors will present evidence as to why the teen should be sentenced to the harshest punishment in the state, life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. His defense team is expected to argue mitigating factors in favor of a prison term of years. Oakland County Circuit Court Judge Kwame Rowe deferred to the defense team that declined to refer to him for a forensic evaluation and potential treatment at the Friday hearing. Crumbley appeared via video during the remote hearing and spoke only to confirm that he could hear Judge Rowe and consented to the virtual proceeding over an in-person court appearance. Crumbley pleaded guilty to fatally shooting 4 students and wounding 7 others at his high school on November 30th, 2021. Crumbley entered the plea last October, pleading guilty to 1 count of terrorism causing death, 4 counts of first-degree murder, and 19 other charges stemming from the mass shooting at Oxford High School. Prosecutors also noted in the court filing that Crumbley's recent behavior should not call his guilty plea into question. To be clear, the behavior referenced in this motion is recent and was not occurring at the time defendant entered his plea. There is no evidence that raises a bona fide doubt as to defendant's competence at that time, a footnote in the filing says. CNN reached out to an attorney for Crumbley for comment about the behavior. The Oakland County Prosecutor Office declined to comment further on the matter, and records detailing the jail incidents were not immediately available. Due to restriction of the release of healthcare-related information, our office will not comment beyond the information included in the brief filed yesterday and referenced in court this morning, Oakland County Chief Assistant Prosecutor David Williams said in a statement to CNN.
But I also remember another thing about this, that I know his parents cut him off. And don't he have the son, the one that did the shooting? I believe he only could get a public defender.
Yeah, I don't think anybody was going to try to take this case.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people want to take a case that they have a strong feeling that they can win. They're not winning this. This individual is definitely, I can see him definitely getting sentenced to the highest level of sentencing that he can get.
Yeah.
Usually I'll be on the fence of whether he may walk or not. I don't think that's happening. And they definitely need to get his parents on something as well. They probably won't get the same nearly as much as he's going to get, but
yeah, but they knew.
Yeah.
They knew, because if correct me if I'm wrong, it's been a while since I looked at this story. Wasn't the mother text messaging him saying, "Don't do it, don't do it"?
I think so.
Yeah. You know, and they were saying that the school was trying to get the parents to come up.
Yeah, exactly. They were trying to, and they never went.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Like I said, it's a lot going on. It's a lot of neglect. For sure, definitely. Like these, it's no good person in this situation. His parents are horrible. He's horrible. He committed a horrible act, a horrific one. So yeah.
And I remember also when I did this story, the neighbor was saying that these two would go out to the bar and would be gone for hours, and the kid would be in the house on his own. That's why he would go next door, because he said nobody was there cooking food for him, so the neighbor would end up giving him food.
Yeah, like I said, now we're seeing where it's stemming from.
Yeah, and when they came home, both of them used to be drunk.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah, it's a lot of neglect there.
Yeah, That's messed up on that part. But at the end of the day, he still took lives, and they're not going to overlook that just
Oh
on the
hell
fact,
no.
not just on the fact that his parents was neglecting them. So,
Right.
but
Yeah,
it just means that his parents is trash.
exactly. And
They just trash people.
right. And on top of that, he took white children's lives. So
Yeah,
no, he ain't
yeah, yeah.
getting out
That's
of
a
that.
that definitely plays a huge part in it as well, for sure. Definitely.
Yeah, he ain't getting out of that one.
All right, so we're gonna move on to the next story, and I hope after this year we don't have to hear about this person again. But since they want to still keep themselves in the news, we're gonna talk about Ezra Miller.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
So
didn't the Flash flop?
if there's a word above, if there's a word that can go beneath flop, I think that's probably where it is, because this movie did horrible. But like I
Did
told
you
people,
see?
I had no intentions of seeing it. I didn't see it. I don't
Okay.
plan on watching it. I don't. And the thing is, I have Max, which used to be HBO Max. When it
Uh-huh.
does drop on there, I'm not watching it. So I'm not entertaining it. But I will entertain the fact that it was an epic failure. I will entertain that. But the reason why we talking about Ezra Miller today is because the harassment order was lifted against him recently. Now he wants to speak out because now he can talk. Now he's saying that he was unjustly targeted by a manipulative individual. No, you weren't.
How the hell did that happen?
Exactly. It's not like your dirt wasn't public.
Right. And it's
We all saw it. We really kind of saw it all play out in real time.
Mm-hmm.
But let's see what he's talking about here. Ezra Miller issued a rare statement over the weekend after a temporary harassment order issued against them was lifted. While it's personal victory for the 30-year-old, professionally, the actor's would-be blockbuster The Flash has become one of the year's biggest disappointments. It actually became one of the biggest disappointments in Warner Brothers history, but I'm going to talk about that in a separate video. This is putting the future of Miller's portrayal of Barry Allen in doubt. Well, I don't know why he would think that he would still be playing this role. First off, after this, he shouldn't be being hired by any studio to do any role for whatever movie, show it is. He's proven that he's box office poison.
Yeah, but he's gonna crop up in something else.
Since last year, Miller was accused of acting inappropriately around a woman and her 12-year-old child. The court granted the family a harassment prevention order on Friday. A judge ruled that the order, originally set to expire July 1st, was lifted. I'm encouraged by today's outcome and very grateful at this moment to everyone who has stood by me and sought to ensure this egregious misuses of the protective order system was halted, Miller wrote on social media. Protective orders are meant to provide safety for individuals, families, and children who are in danger, the actor continued. They are not meant to be used as weapons by those seeking attention or fleeting tabloid fame or some sort of personal vengeance when there are people in dire need of these services. Miller, who is non-binary, said they have been unjustly and directly targeted by an individual who the facts have shown has a history of such manipulative and destructive actions. The Daily Beast reported in June 2022 that a mother in Massachusetts took out a protective order for her child. She claimed Miller pestered the non-binary minor with compliments and accused the Justice League star of acting erratically. Miller did not publicly address the situation at the time, but a lawyer for the actor refuted the allegations and claimed Miller was never alone with the child and never acted with the child outside of two brief encounters which occurred in the presence of several other adults. I implore those members of the media who have recklessly spread false claims and failed to accurately report the truth and context of the story to hold themselves to a higher standard and take the time to find the facts rather than chasing the clicks, Miller continued in Saturday's statement. On a personal note, I want everyone to know that I am continuing to do my best to preserve my own wellness and what I can to reverse the collateral damage this ordeal has brought upon me and those close to me. Miller concluded by thanking his fans for support. The news comes 3 weeks after The Flash arrived in theaters with a thud, and the trend continued over the weekend. The DC flick fell to number 8 in its third weekend of release, raking in only $5 million. It's a massive 67% drop from last week. The film has grossed $245 million worldwide and is on track to lose money for Warner Brothers, $200 million to be exact. Prior to The Flash's lackluster debut, director Andy Muschietti said that Miller would not be recast in any potential sequels. He doesn't need to be cast in anything, sequel or not.
He needs to be blackballed. They need to just not hire him for anything.
He said, I don't think there's anyone that can play that character as well as they did, the director said on the Discourse podcast. I can think of the actor from the show. A lot of people were saying that the actor from the CW show should have been the one to play the Flash even before they cast Ezra Miller to do the Justice League back in 2017. But, I have a feeling if they would have just did that, the movie would have performed so much better. Mrs. Miller did no press for highly anticipated superhero film aside from attending the world premiere amid their ongoing legal and personal troubles. A sequel for the film has yet to be announced. It doesn't need one based on them numbers, but Variety reported the studio has already has a finished script.
Yeah, and a lot of people were upset about him doing the Flash, and he did not get any of the backlash that Jonathan Majors got. Exactly. And Jonathan Majors, what he did is mild compared to Ezra Miller.
Oh yeah. And also too, if you remember when he was in, was it Hawaii? I think it was Hawaii when he had threw that chair. He was at like the karaoke bar or something like that, and he had threw a chair at the woman up there because apparently she was singing a song he didn't like or something like that. That happened the same week that when Will Smith slapped Chris Rock at the Oscars. It happened that same week, but that situation at the Oscars overshadowed that. But the situation with Ezra Miller, it was there, but it could not compete in the media against that because that's all they kept talking about. But I remember that because it happened the same week. As a matter of fact, I think it happened maybe either the next day or 2 days later. It wasn't like it was all the way at the end of the week. It was fairly early, still early on in the beginning of the week because the Oscars was on that Sunday, and I believe what he did was that Tuesday.
Okay.
So, but yeah, a lot of people don't even remember that, but I remember that he threw a chair at this woman, and I think he also had, while also in that same breath, I think he had broke into someone's room or something like that. So all the backlash that Ezra Miller is getting, it's a like a big ball of controversy. It's not just one thing; it's a plethora of things.
Yeah, and and the thing is, if he was a brother, they would have been had him in jail.
Right, and guess what? You wouldn't have been able to use your quote unquote non-binary status. But like I told people, Ezra Miller has the Trinity on his side. He's a part of the Academy. He's PC, and he's part of them folks.
Yeah,
he got the triangle on his side. That's why he's able to flourish, so to speak. Before we go to the next story, shout out to Winnie Wall for the 199 super chat. He's a Miller is a weirdo. Majors is a straight black man. There you go. And I did a video on Jonathan Majors today, like with the recent stuff coming about him. They try to, because they was talking about, there's a possibility that they'll arrest the ex-girlfriend. Now they're trying to say that, he had this behavior that was going back nearly a decade when he was at Yale. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, he was on Lovecraft Country in 2018 because that's when the show came out. He was in Lovecraft Country nearly a decade ago, which means that would have been about 4 years prior to that. And you didn't say nothing then?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. If you say so. But anyway, let's move on to the next story. And this one right here, this story is all too familiar with us because we've seen this happen before. But I figured let me just go ahead and talk about it. But this is coming out of Georgia, and the headline says, Georgia police use black man's photo for target practice.
Yes, I did a video on this one. Yes.
I remember it was back, I think it was in Florida years ago. You probably remember this. It was in Florida where this black woman had went to the gun range. And she was, they let you pick your targets and whatnot. And she said she was shooting at, looking at the targets. And she said, wait a minute, one of these targets looks familiar. And it turns out that the target that people were shooting at, or one of the ones that was available, was of her brother.
Wow. I
Yeah,
remember that.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I think her brother was locked up, so I think they used his mugshot,
Mm-hmm.
and she immediately alerted the authorities and and that turned into a story. But I remember that she was probably shocked out of her mind when she saw that. I would
Mm-hmm.
be too.
Yeah. And this is not unusual. I've seen these stories before where they have a black target that they shoot at the range.
Hmm.
And and then when you read the story, it's almost like an insult to
Right.
everybody's intelligence because they said, well, we do have other ones of different people of races, but all
Hmm.
they had posted on Facebook were all of that black target. It was nothing
Exactly.
else.
Hmm. And you look at the optics of it all, and they said it's the Georgia police, and they were using a black man as the target. And then when you think about all the stories where a lot of these cops kill unarmed black men, it
Mhm.
makes you wonder, were they shooting at targets of black men when they
Yeah.
was inside the range? So they
Mhm.
literally are laser focused of who to target in real life. Because
Right.
shooting at a paper, that's nothing. The paper has no life. It's not breathing. It can't bleed. It can't die. But then you go out into the field, into the street, and then that's when you're dealing with real life.
Right. Right. You know, and they always want to label us as the criminals, but when you look at the FBI statistics, it says otherwise. It
Hmm.
really does.
Right.
It says they are the biggest ones committing the crimes, but they have somehow got out here and convinced everybody that it's all us. And then when
Hmm.
you look at all the unarmed shootings, because for a while they were on social media saying, "Oh, well, we get shot by the cops more than you." And then when the videos kept coming out and we kept consistently seeing primarily black men, you notice they don't say that anymore.
Right.
We're on that
And
big at
and
one point in time.
and the crazy part about it is, it's not like these are like, you know how like you saw the, I don't know why I didn't pick up on this before, because the subliminal was there. Remember at one point when you had the targets, it was on a white piece of paper, and the target was in the what's the word that I'm looking for? The oh, I forgot what it's called, but anyway, it was on a white piece of paper, and the outline of it would be of a man, but the color would be all black, and you would
Yeah,
have the
like the
targets going in. I said that they was telling you something then,
yeah,
because when's
yeah,
the last time you saw a target with a black background and a white male outline?
never, never,
And then
never.
when I'm looking at, it right here, this is
Tareen,
an actual man.
when I seen that in a
Uh-huh.
movie, in a movie, one time
Okay.
I was watching a movie and they had, it was Police Academy and they had white targets. That's the only time I ever seen it seriously is in a movie.
Yeah.
But when you see these cops doing it, it's always someone black.
Hmm. Oh, and shout out to DJ and Keith and Carlton way in the chat. They said silhouette. That was the word I'm looking for, was a silhouette.
Silhouette. Yep.
But yeah, and if you look at this image right here, that's an actual black man. Like,
Yeah.
that's someone who exists. It's
Mm-hmm.
not like it's a fake. This is someone who is real.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
the crazy part about it is, what if he doesn't even know his picture is being used?
More than
That's
likely.
scary, because what if they was like, what if they just said, oh, if they just need, if there was a story going out, then they just needed to go and look after, or just go after a black man. Boom, then you got it. You got him in a target, and then you got him in real life.
Yeah. And if he's an inmate, he would never know. He
Exactly. And,
probably would.
I'm looking at this picture, and that's definitely not a mugshot.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah. I mean, chances are, whoever he is, he probably has no idea.
most likely, definitely. He probably didn't even live in the state.
Mm-hmm. And
Let's
just
move on.
think, they're selling that.
Oh
They're
yeah.
selling it because they said in the article that the police department purchased these different
Oh
images.
yeah. Hmm.
And they said they have them of people of other races, but the problem is all the ones they had posted online was this black man.
Right. Because
And you just see all
they're literally telling you they're literally telling you who the target is.
right. Exactly.
Let's go on to the next story. Now, this one is fairly recent. It's a July story coming out of what state is this? Oh God, another Florida story. I swear, all these Florida stories. But we have this individual right here. Now, this is a Operation Protect the White Boy in full effect, whose name is Jalen Kittner. College football quarterback takes plea deal in CP case that doesn't require him to register as a sex offender.
Although he is really one.
Exactly.
He's really a sex offender, but he don't have to
register as one. Like, that's the scary part right there, because the thing is, this story can get easily swept under the rug. You may never see his face again. He could just be wandering around and you'll never know who he is, and you'll never know that this guy was in possession of CP, and because they didn't put him on the sex offenders list because he took a plea deal. Let's see what they're talking about. The former backup quarterback for the University of Florida pleaded guilty on Wednesday to disorderly conduct charges in exchange for prosecutors dropping the CP charges against him, according to the Orlando Sentinel. Jalen Kittner won't have to register as a sex offender because he did not admit to a sex crime, even though he committed one.
Right.
Even though he committed one. 8th Judicial Circuit Judge Susan Miller Jones reportedly sentenced him to separate 6-month terms of probation for each of the second-degree misdemeanor counts of disorderly conduct. The court will release him from the second set of probation if he follows the terms of the plea agreement. In court, Kittner, the son of retired NFL quarterback John Kittner, so we got a legacy here.
Okay.
Yes, and that's all starting to come together. Voiced an apology to his family, friends, and people who care about him. The valuable lessons that I've learned through this whole deal have been very helpful, he reportedly said. I'm looking forward to applying those things and moving forward. My hope is that we never cross paths again, Miller Jones told Jalen Kittner in court. Go do something great with the rest of your life. I mean, I guess, like I said, you got to look out for the future, you know? Isn't that what Whitney said in the song Greatest Love of All?
But you know,
I'm sure she wasn't talking about this though.
Oh no, but that only gets said to white folks in court. They don't say that to us. They don't tell us you got a future, or oh, you're a good kid, you just made a mistake. They never say that about our children.
Remember the black guy out there, what state was that? Was it Kansas? The one who was the black guy at the party where they tried to say that he had assaulted this white girl.
Yes.
But that wasn't the case. Like they said there was no penetration. They barely even touched. But then they tried to say he did this and that third, and they just slapped him with all these years.
Yeah, he got out though.
Yeah, but that's I mean, I'm glad that he did, but it shouldn't have never gotten to that point.
No, it shouldn't. And
meanwhile, this guy actually committed the crimes in which he should have been at least registered as a sex offender, but because he took a plea deal, they're like, "Oh, we're gonna spare you. We got to look out for your future."
Yeah, and the thing is, he's suing them now.
Good. He has every right to do so, and I hope he wins. I'm talking about get everything down to the dust.
Yeah, exactly.
Police in Gainesville, Florida, said that Jalen Kittner shared 2 illicit images on the instant messaging platform Discord. Detective Montague contacted Kittner at the residence and interviewed him, authorities said last year. Kittner stated that he remembered sharing the 2 images, but believed them to be legal since he found them online. What? You knew these were children?
Yeah.
What kind of excuse? And shout out to YG LTB1 for the super chat. He said, let's add another category under the acronym PC, the protected class. Right. Appreciate the super chat. He said Kittner advised that he realized he should not have shared those 2 images based on the reaction from the other Discord users that he shared them with. Kittner advised shortly after that his Discord account was deactivated and that he assumed someone reported him to Discord. Kittner stated that he received an email from Discord stating that his account was deactivated due to the violation of terms of service. My thing is this: why would you think that that was the right thing to do?
Yeah.
My thing is, where in the world did you go to even find those images? Because he had to go search it. So he had to go like type something in and pull that up and just put it in there, because Discord doesn't work where you type something in and a bunch of images pop up. He had to go and find them from somewhere and then come back and copy and paste it into the Discord chat. Probably somewhere on a dark web somewhere. I wouldn't be surprised. Investigators seized Kittner's electronic devices for the search warrant. They said they found 3 more illicit images. Those were pictures of post-pubescent girls, said Derry Lloyd, chief investigator for the state attorney's office in the Sentinel report. Investigators could not reach a conclusion about a 4th girl. The behavior of a 19-year-old looking at another teenager is not abnormal behavior, he said. If there was a sex act involved, then you have criminal behavior. This was an image. What?
Wow.
This is what his attorney said. The chief investigator. That's what he said. I want the people in the chat to marinate on what I just read. They said the behavior of a 19-year-old looking at another teenager is not abnormal behavior. My thing is this. He wasn't just looking at a teenager. He was looking at explicit images of them.
Right.
It's amazing how they left that part out.
Trust me, he's going to do this again. He's going to do it again.
Oh, definitely. I wouldn't be surprised. It says if there was a sex act involved, then you have criminal behavior. Well, here's the thing. When you share images like that, that is basically a sex act.
Right.
I guess they never heard of the term sexting before. But the thing is, this wasn't a thing with him sharing images of himself with a person who's of age. He went and pulled and retrieved these images of these young girls and posted them in the Discord chat and still had other images in his phone. Who knows what he was doing with those images?
Right.
I mean, I have an idea, but I'm not going to say it on here. Now, they all just going to have to use your imagination. It's very sick. Investigators did not discover any more evidence on his computer and mobile devices. A psychiatric evaluation found there to be nothing deviant about his behavior. It's not like he was collecting images. He had 4 images in his phone. What?
Yeah.
I don't know what's worse. The act in which this guy, what he did, or this prosecutor trying to sit here and insult our intelligence.
And, you know, it's when they do something, it's always something different. Right. It's always something different.
Right. He said he wasn't collecting images. He had 4 of them. They made it seem like they only found 1.
Mm-hmm.
They found 4. Kittner's attorney called the plea deal the right result. What we've got here today is a result that's fair and the right result. Kittner's attorney, Ron Kozlowski, there's a ski, you know what that means.
Mm-hmm.
Told the Sentinel after the verdict, obviously the state agrees and we feel good about that. This is going to give Jalen an opportunity to move on to the next step, whatever that is. That was ridiculous, but not surprising at the same time.
No. You know, they're going to get breaks that we will never see.
Exactly.
That's just the way it is. That's how their system runs.
Right. But let's move on to the next one. We only got 2 more stories. This one is coming out again of Florida.
Damn.
Another Florida story. Now this one doesn't have anything to do with anything like what the last one was, but it's still a wild story. Florida man charged with shooting a missile into an occupied vehicle, causing truck to roll and crash.
Wow.
Where in the hell did you get a missile from?
Yeah, really.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Before I even read this, I want to assume that maybe it was a firecracker, like, you know, one of those missile firecrackers that you can get. That's what I'm assuming, because I don't want to believe this guy actually had some kind of a missile launcher of any type and just shot it into this vehicle. Like people in the chat, how did exactly RY? How did he get a missile? We about to find out, because I'm curious now. A 28-year-old man in Florida was arrested for allegedly targeting and shooting 2 people in a moving pickup truck, causing the vehicle to flip over and crash, and also shooting a missile into the truck while both occupants were inside. So this guy shot the missile into the truck after they crashed, not causing them to crash, but after they crashed. Oh, he wanted them dead.
Yeah. I wonder, where the hell did he get a missile from?
We're going to keep on reading because I'm curious. They need to tell us where did he get this from. Julian Mendez Wolf was taken into custody on Monday and charged with 2 counts of attempted first-degree premeditated murder, which is actually the right charge when you think about it, with a firearm, as well as 1 count of shooting a missile into an occupied vehicle. According to the Collier County Sheriff's Office, at around 11 p.m. on Thursday, June 1st, Mendez Wolf was involved in a shooting incident in Immokalee Road near Twin Eagles Boulevard. Investigators say that Mendez Wolf specifically targeted the two victims who were both shot while inside of a black pickup truck. Mendez Wolf is currently held in the Collier County Jail. Records show that bond is being held on the attempted murder charges, while his bond for shooting a missile into an occupied vehicle was set at $250,000. After Mendez Wolf started shooting at the two occupants, the truck rolled over and crashed. Sheriff Kevin Ramsbosk said in a Facebook Live video, referring to the incident as an outrageous act of violence that was senseless and deliberate. According to an incident report obtained by the Naples Daily News, deputies responded to the scene of the crash initially believed that the two injured persons were victims of a single car vehicle crash. However, the sheriff's office said that first responders later realized that the two victims were both suffering from gunshot wounds. They're actually very lucky to be alive, considering what he did. The overturned car reportedly left the victims trapped inside the vehicle, and both were only removed after rescue teams used belt cutters to free them. They were both transported via airlift to Gulf Coast Medical Center in Fort Myers. During the subsequent investigations, authorities on June 8th released a photograph showing the back of the truck being driven by the victims when they were shot, in hopes that the picture would generate new leads leading to an arrest. Authorities also offered a $3,000 reward for information leading to the shooter's arrest.
Wow.
A GoFundMe page was set up to fundraise on behalf of the shooting victims, identifies them as Amy Chesser and Scotty McCandless. The page, which has raised just over $18,000 of its $25,000 goal, says they both suffered devastating, life-threatening injuries in a traumatic incident on June 1st. While much remains unknown about the events that led to their injuries, it is certain that both have sustained brain trauma that will likely impact them for the rest of their lives. A very long, challenging road to recovery lies ahead. Amy and Scotty were both airlifted to a trauma hospital where they continue to fight for their miraculous recoveries. We are all praying for. The sheriff's office did not immediately respond to a message from Law and Crime seeking additional details on the weapon and ammunition investigators were referring to when they say Mendez Wolf shot a missile into the vehicle being driven by the victims. The warrant issued for his arrest states that he did unlawfully, wantonly, or maliciously shoot a bullet or projectile from a firearm within or into a vehicle. Mendez Wolf has an arraignment scheduled for July 17th. He has not yet entered a plea, and it is unclear if he has retained an attorney. So we don't know where he got the missile from.
Don't know where he got it from, and
I'm curious now. They probably go ahead.
Wondering what their beef was about. Because it's not like he targeted everybody. He targeted them.
That was very personal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like the fact that he shot into this car, they crashed, and then he went over and shot a missile projectile to the car while it's already flipped over means he wanted them dead. And I bet you it was probably another one of them road rage things. I keep telling people, PC, especially that PC man, has some of the worst road rage ever.
Yeah,
like it usually always ends very violently. Like they just it can't be a thing where, oh, you might have gotten tapped or something like that. You gotta go and follow this person and basically stalk them, shoot at them and whatnot, and do all this other stuff. It was a story that just recently happened where this guy got into a road rage thing with this black woman. Literally, it was so bad. This guy literally, like, she pulled over into like a gas station parking lot, ran into the store. He ran into the store behind her with the gun out. It was about to commit a whole shootout in the store trying to get this woman because of alleged, I don't know what it was. I think it was something about a red light or something like that. I gotta tell you, they have some of the worst road rage.
Yeah, they do. They do. And I mean, I did a couple of stories on it. And these one I did, two white men were in a road rage and they got out and started fist fighting on the highway. Yeah.
I can believe it.
I mean, it's crazy out here.
Okay, we are approaching our last story, and we got to continue it off with Florida. We got to continue it off with Florida. Now, this story right here, I think everybody is aware of. I've talked about it. You talked about it. Harvey, I know he talked about it. People in the chat know about it. And that is the story with Susan Lorincz.
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't get an opportunity to do an update separate video on it. So I said, let me just go ahead and throw it in here. So this woman, they say there is insufficient evidence to charge her with murder of a GK Owens, even though there's a lot of history there and evidence to show that this woman intended to murder her.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to give your take on it? Because I think you spoke about it.
I believe she did too, because just before the shooting, she was out there bothering them kids again. And I think she threw a skate at one of them, and she took their tablet. And when the kids went to her house to try to get it back, she swung at them with an umbrella. So, no, I mean, and what better way to lure the mother over there if you got the tablet? Yeah, she's gonna come over there and get the tablet for her children. But the thing that gets me is they interviewed some of the neighbors, and there is not one neighbor I heard one good thing about this woman. It seemed like she was a menace to everybody that lived up and down that street. And some of the people were saying they didn't even know what her name was because everybody called her Karen.
Wasn't that what the kids called her?
That's no, apparently the kids and the adults were calling her that.
Yeah, I had heard something like they said the kids were calling her that too, and that's what really sparked this whole thing off, which led to this woman's murder.
Some nerve. She was out there calling them kids the N-word.
Yeah, I heard that too.
And kids don't just call you Karen. You had a pattern of being nasty.
Right.
And no, she got a lot of nerve. You out there calling them kids slaves and N-words and everything else, but if they call you Karen, you gonna shoot somebody?
Yeah, that just reminds me of when I did that video on Matt Walsh back in May when he was trying to say that they are trying to make the word Karen a racial slur against white women. I said, Matt, go sit your ass down somewhere. But instead of them charging her with murder like they should have, they decided to charge her with manslaughter with a firearm and assault.
Exactly.
Which is like low totem pole right there. Like that's that one you get right before they have a chance to say, we'll snatch it away and just give you probation.
Right.
So if she does do any time, and that's a very big if, we're talking months to maybe a year or two, and that's about it. Shout out to Keith Evans for the super chat. He says, great job, guys. I'm so proud of our black media. Says we got to keep supporting them socially and financially. Y'all are my news. I appreciate it. And shout out to you for watching, definitely. But yeah, I'm not surprised that this is the outcome. They're going to try to get this woman off, but something tells me she won't be able to move back to that neighborhood. Because now all eyes are really going to be on her. She made herself a target.
And I think the landlord evicted her.
As they should have. And honestly, they probably should have been got rid of her.
They should have, especially if she was so much of a problem to that neighborhood. They should have gotten her out of there. But yeah, she got a $154,000 bond, but she can't make bonds. She don't have any money.
Oh, that sounds like a her problem. And I bet you, and I'm sure that I don't know if she said it like if there's a GoFundMe or anything set up like that, but hopefully there isn't. But if there is, hopefully it's struggling to get any type of contributions.
I haven't heard of one so far.
Good, there should be one.
Surprised, if one of her own try to get her out.
Right. But yeah, that was the last story of the day. Lisa, do you have anything else that you would like to contribute?
Well, I want to thank you for having me over here. It's been a long time.
I know it has been. A lot of people, like for those of you who don't understand the chat, this is not the first time Lisa has been on the channel, but it just has been a while.
Yeah.
And I said, let me go ahead and bring her on for these stories today. I definitely couldn't handle all of these by myself.
You know what? What did you think about when that stuff came out about Susan Lorincz telling those children that was her property. And she put trespassing signs on that little spot of land the kids were playing on. And that was not her property. And it came out she don't even own any land.
Yeah, she's living outside. She's living outside of her own head.
Yeah, I guess that goes with being a colonizer. You think you own
Exactly.
everything.
Exactly. Yeah, well, shout out to YGLTB1. He says, with them, it's always the benefit of the doubt. However, with us, we get the doubt of innocence. Exactly. And I appreciate it. And also shout out to Val Williams for the $5 super chat. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all we have. Tell the people, Lisa, first off, if they don't know where to find you, I don't know where they've been at, but just go ahead and plug your channel anyway.
I'm Lisa Cabrera. I'll put the link to my channel, but most of you know how to find me.
Right. And the thing is, I tagged you in the title, so they can just click on that and it'll take you right over to their channel. And shout out to Carla for the $5 super chat. But definitely, I'm glad that Lisa, that you was able to come on today to discuss these topics with me. It definitely will not be the last time for sure.
Yes.
Like I said, we always got something to talk about. Definitely.
Mm-hmm. I have my current events this coming Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So y'all can chime in.
Definitely.
And on StreamYard, you can now tie into my live stream and stream it from your channel.
Right. I know all about that. I was going to tell you to do that on yours, but you had already had it set up. Like as soon as I pressed that live, but like you was already about to connect it, so I didn't have to tell you. But yeah, because it was a lot of people over here today. But shout out to everybody who came through. Shout out to everybody who hit the super chat, which was quite a few of you. Shout out to anybody who subscribed either to my channel, if you haven't been subscribed to my channel, or subscribed to Alicia's channel if you've never been subscribed to her channel as well. But we are about to get out of here. Y'all enjoy the rest of your Friday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Of course, I will be uploading my it'll be a 12 noon Eastern Standard Time video tomorrow. I'm finally uploading my take on that submersible. I know I'm like 2 weeks late behind it, but when you're doing one video a day, that's what ends up happening. But I have a very interesting take on it that I didn't really see anybody talk about. That just kind of rubbed me the wrong way concerning that situation. But with that being said, we about to be out of here again. One last super sticker came through. 1,000. I think that's on your end, Lisa, but shout out to you nonetheless. With that being said, y'all be safe and be one.
Thank you. Be one.